Hey!
Listen to me, you whining little whelp.
From the Gettysburg Tour Studio,
Hey everyone, it's Cameron.
Shut up!
you're listening to Addressing Gettysburg Today.
There's no time. Hello, exactly.
Dybbuk schmibbuk, I said more ham.
I just hate you, and I hate your ass face.
0.0.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Addressing Gettysburg. And may I say, Alderson brought us into you all. Alderson brought us into you, Ronnie.
Alderson brought us into you.
Alderson brought us into you, Eric.
Baka-laka-daka,
And Durka Muhammad Jihad. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Addressing Gettysburg today. And, well, first of all, Ronnie, we missed you last 2 weeks? We haven't done a show together. Because I was away.
You were away the week, yeah. The week
and then
and actually the week before that, I was away.
So 3 weeks without Ronnie Ronstadt.
Technically 4,
because
the week before that was the 4th of July
have
activities.
been here since. Yeah.
All 4 of us.
All 3 of us.
Oh, okay. I'm looking for the other person. Yeah, no, this is like old school here. It's just the 3 of us.
Yeah.
Although we do have a guest coming in later. Ken Rich will be in the second segment. Last week Amy asked questions about Jennie Wade. And apparently, I did not do a sufficient job for Ken.
I thought you were gonna say for Amy. Amy was like,
probably
I don't buy
that too. But
it's not the first time he's heard that.
all right. And so he said, "Hey, you got a couple of things wrong there." And I said, "Well, why don't you come on this week and tell us where we went wrong?" And it'll be a good way to promote because he does a Jennie Wade tour.
Yeah.
And so and he's a new sponsor of the show.
Oh, I didn't know.
Oh yes.
The red shirt man.
Yep. Yes, the red shirt man. That's right. I got his cards right here. Look at that. Look here, watch. Look at that, folks. That's it. Ken Rich and his red shirt, his trademark red shirt. And anyway, so he's going to come in and talk about that a little bit later. But so the most recent thing with you is Kath had to have surgery on her wrist.
Yes.
Now she broke her wrist. What, like 6 weeks ago?
It was June 21st. She fell on June 21st.
So a little over a month ago, and she had to have surgery.
Yeah, which was a big bummer, to be candid, because she had been, we went to the ER that day, and they said it, and she went back a week later, and they said everything's, like, aligned, this is fantastic. They put a hard cast on, had another appointment, everything was fine. Then finally on the 3rd appointment, which would have been, like, whatever that was, I guess that would have been the 4th week, because today's the 28th, right? 29th. So, yeah, so it's been 5 weeks. So that Friday, they were like, oh, it's shortening, and we were like, what the hell does that mean? What is that? That's scary.
Yeah.
And basically that's medical terminology. The way they explained it to us is that it's coming away from the arm bone was coming away from the wrist.
It's not that it was producing shortening.
Yeah.
It was that it was shortening. Okay. So she had to have
8 pins and a plate, and she got through the surgery. Okay, the surgery itself went well, but the anesthesia, man, it took its effect on her.
Yeah,
and it was scary. I got to be honest. I mean,
what happened?
So she came out. So they don't let you just sit in the room waiting for her to be brought back up. They send you out to the waiting room and everything. And WellSpan has this neat little screen. Most hospitals do now, where they kind of let you follow along with the progress. So
like at the airport where you see where your flight is,
landing on
delayed.
time. Yeah. Disembarking. Yeah.
You never want to see canceled at a hospital though.
Yeah. Or something like Ooh.
Yeah.
Check
Whoops.
in, But she was in. The procedure was about an hour and a half, and it said finishing up, and the doctor came down to the waiting room, was like, oh, the surgery's fantastic, great, my PAs are closing up, it's good, da-da-da. So then another half an hour, another 45 minutes, another hour. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So then it said she was quote unquote waking up, and then that changed to recovery, and then a nurse came out and got me and was like, Veronica said, yeah. So she said, come on back, and they were basically moving her from the OR room, like the recovery room there, into the actual OR or recovery floor. And Mom was like white as her color was just horrible.
Really?
And and apparently they had given her quite a bit of pain meds because it is an excruciatingly painful procedure.
Yeah.
You're drilling holes in the bone and all this other stuff and manipulating it and everything and basically connecting it back together.
Yeah.
So they said that wasn't unusual, but the way she reacted to coming out of the anesthesia was not great and not typical. All her vitals were all screwed up. I mean, her blood pressure and things were through the roof. I mean, her pulse rate was fluctuating between like super high and I mean like 50. I mean, it was just crazy. What's the thing they put on your finger? The oxygen.
Yeah.
Monitor. It was like it was beeping like it was in the 80 percentile a couple times. The nurse came like running in and stuff, and it was a little scary. She was in
scary.
the recovery room a lot longer than the surgery itself took, but finally, and then. Not to get super graphic, but she ended up vomiting several times with like medication because you don't have anything on your stomach.
Right.
So it's literally just bile in the meds that they're giving you.
It's the worst kind of throwing up too.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
Right? And I felt so bad for her. You can't do anything for somebody. But luckily after that,
and you couldn't even hold her hair because she cuts her hair short.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but go ahead.
But so thank God by the end of the night on Monday, she kind of had everything out of her system and. She was able to sleep a little bit, which is what they wanted to do, and then Tuesday on has been just normal pain with the incision site. So she threw me for a little scare. I don't know. Obviously she didn't do it on purpose, but we had a little bit of a laugh about it afterward because she's my best friend, and that was just scary to see. And it is my mom, obviously, but
well, I know, and it's tough because a few weeks ago I went back to Jersey for a family reunion.
Yeah.
And, most of the people there I don't see but once a year, unless someone dies or gets married, It's depressing realizing that my generation is the next generation of old people in the family, and the old people are getting old.
Yeah.
And, slowing down and walking all feeble and everything. And it's like, God, this happened so fast. It's depressing.
Yeah.
It's really freaking depressing, and I don't like it. I want my money back.
Yeah, right.
So I hear you on that. It's tough. Well, you just got to enjoy all the moments that you got, all the moments that you can,
Oh, yeah. Mom, I know you're listening. We're not talking about you like...
Yeah, we know you're not dead yet,
Kath.
Kath.
That incident with the operation where, she's...
No, but that's scary, though. You go in for a wrist surgery, and then everything's going wacky in the recovery. I mean, that's scary.
Yeah.
My grandmother... I mean, this was heart surgery, but she never made it out of recovery.
My grandfather, my mom's dad, same on the operating table. I remember when I was 12 years old being home with my dad because Mom had gone with the hospital. I was like 12, and I remember getting the phone call, my dad getting the phone call, right? And I that was one of the only times I ever remember my dad crying. And I mean, he cried like a baby, and he was so close with my grandpa and my mom's dad, and it was sad. I mean, Grandpa had some heart issues and never came out. Same like you said, your grandma. So,
I was saying to somebody the other day, I just dread the day because I don't know how I'm going to live without either one of my parents. So it's tough. It's tough. But thank God I have my sister though. But and you have me, Ronnie. You have me. Okay.
We're like brothers.
Yes, we are. That's right. So you always have me. Don't worry about that.
Thanks.
So it's been a fine week for people with no lives on our social media.
I've heard. I've blocked so many of them. I haven't been able to actually enjoy this because I got so frustrated with some of them in the past. I don't even see their nonsense anymore. So you have to fill me in.
Well, so somebody said, "Why don't you just ban these people?"
Yeah.
And I say, "No. There are some people that do that, and they go, my place isn't for this, that." But I believe that sunlight is the best disinfectant. So you let people show what asses they are, and everybody else can see, and everybody else can decide. And usually I just make one little smart ass comment or whatever, but some people really just get me going.
Yeah.
And so there was one thing on Facebook. I'm not going to say the person's name, but you can go and look and see if you want. There was
if
one
you
thing.
haven't blocked him already.
If you haven't blocked him already,
I can't go look and see.
If you blocked him already. But like, I posted a video about the Lost Cause narrative and how it started, and Vox put it out. And for those of you who don't know, Vox is more of a left-leaning news organization. Well, it's one person who never comments on anything in a positive way. I can recall him commenting twice, this past time and then a year ago when we had Scott Hancock on. Neither one of them did he actually listen to the material or read the material or whatever it may have been. He just saw the name and was triggered and then went on a tirade against the person, or in this case, Vox. And then he was yelling at Eric. He was blaming Eric for putting the thing up. And then Eric's like, it wasn't me, but I'm going to put this meme up instead. And it was Sherman burning Atlanta.
I saw that comment at I don't know, must have been 11 o'clock on Tuesday night. And I was like, what the shit is this?
Oh, wow.
You're getting blamed for something I did.
Fine.
Yeah.
Fuck it. I'm all in.
So it's just, I don't even remember what the hell we were talking about. If you want to go and read it, it's on the Facebook page. But like, I just I don't understand the mindset. I do understand. Actually, that's wrong. I do understand the mindset. I was once miserable, unhappy in my life, depressed, and the world needed to pay. And I made them pay online because that's really how it's done. And it was like it's a loser state of mind. It is a loser state of mind to be that way. Why don't you have anything going on in your life that you have to sit on Facebook or YouTube or wherever and just, I don't know, just be a shit? Like why do you have to be a shit?
There are several people, and the more you're here, I've been here going on 3 years now, right? And people know each other, and the same, like, people overlap in different groups, and maybe the Civil War Roundtable people know Randy Dreas's people, and
right.
Gettysburg Foundation people know these people. So you see a lot of the same people post on Facebook. But there are about 4 or 5. I don't interact with them. I haven't blocked them yet because I really just kind of see their name and whatever their comment's going to be. And I know it's going to be something negative.
Yeah.
It doesn't
you
matter
just see their name.
what it's about. Yep. It can be traffic. It can be the Little Round Top Project. It can be the price of ice cream. I mean, it
That's why nobody
matter.
interacts with me on Facebook.
Yeah. And I'm just like... And then some of the stuff is so goofy. There was actually one person was complaining about no free parking for the upper crust and how that's privileged. The owner is so privileged that she's making money for the borough. And I was just like, wait, what?
What?
I know. That's
no
insane.
Free parking for what? I don't understand.
On borough event. I know. But this is what I'm saying. Is the same people. They just you pick things. They're so weird. Some random person said, "Hey, I'm visiting from out of town. Just curious if there's free parking behind the upper crust." And of course, some people are like, "Oh, I don't even like that." Da 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 da.
Oh, well,
rather than saying no, there's not.
Right,
you have
right.
to pay for the shit.
Yeah.
So then somebody gets on and says, this privileged owner won't even, wants to raise money for the borough, and I'm just like,
wants to raise money for the borough.
I'm like, what are you even?
No, she doesn't.
About?
She wants to. She wants to ban the food trucks because they park on her street in front of the restaurant. And I think all the food trucks should pick the same day and go and park all up in front of her street. Take all those parking spaces.
See, but here's the thing that makes that just so profoundly fucking stupid. To have free parking, right?
Yeah.
She would have to own a piece of property.
That's right.
To put a parking lot.
Yeah. But that's what
and
I'm
if you look at property prices in the borough, they're insane.
Yeah.
Like I would like if I opened anything in town and I had a parking lot, I would charge everybody that parked there. Because it's so ridiculously expensive within the borough limits. Secondly, if she really wanted to offer free parking, she could, but she would have to pay the borough a monthly lease, essentially, on every single parking space that she wanted.
And who's to guarantee that one of her customers is going to use it?
Who you should really be mad at is the borough for charging $1.50 an hour.
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
that's
it's just
what I'm
these same
saying.
people over and over. They gripe about things that aren't even things. Like, it's not like she has a parking lot that she has roped off because, you're not going to park here. You're not getting.
I have free parking, but you can't use it.
Talking about it. It's not even a thing, and you're
There's
bitching
a whole
about
parking
it.
lot on the roof of her building, and she's the only one that parks
on the roof. Yeah, no, I know.
Secret elevator.
But those people, those are annoying, and I am so embarrassed now to admit that I am one of the 2 people that created Borough Event, me and my friend Gene Golden, and it has gotten so out of hand. Now I cringe when I go and I look at some of the, because you're right. It's like someone asks a simple question. Hey, come into town, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, well, you don't want to do this because that guy sucks. You don't want to do this because that woman's a bitch. And blah, 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 blah.
Right,
and it's just like, well, Jesus Christ. Yeah. People need to fucking come, people need to get a life is what they need to do.
My favorite ones are the people that like interject in an argument with something that has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Like you could be having a conversation about road closures in the park, and somebody will be like, "My great grandpappy was in the Louisiana 9th." That's awesome, man. That has nothing to do with what anybody's talking about here.
There was a guy who this was a positive comment. Like it was like on YouTube. Loved your show, and then went on to this whole thing about I don't even know what. And so I just gave him a thumbs up emoji because I don't know what else. I didn't know what he was saying. So I'm like, hey. And usually when somebody says something that doesn't deserve a response, I just give a thumbs up because otherwise it won't clear the comments out of the app and I'll always see them. So I just got to respond. Anyway, the point is, this guy on the Facebook thing just drove me nuts because, see, I know about him. I know who he is. Yeah. I know what he does. And I know that there was a night where he was feeding my buddy Matt, out of context at best, bullshit about what we do on the show. Yeah. And then was at a table with you and some other people and would go back and forth between the two. And these texts would come into me from Matt all angry at me. Yeah. And they're coming in 15, 20-minute intervals. And then I talked to you. I told you the story. And you go, oh, well, wait a second. So-and-so was at the table with us. And he kept leaving for about 15 or 20 minutes and then come back. And he'd leave and come back. And I'm like, well, that works. That works out. Yeah. And it's a weasel thing to do. Yeah. And then turn around and act like you're best buddies at a book sale.
After the fact, I find out he's leaving the table where I happen to be at a long group table, and he's bad-mouthing me to someone I don't even know is in the same restaurant, over at the bar area, and then coming back and being nice to my face. I'm like, what is going on? And on top of it, he doesn't know the first thing about me or whatever relationship or not lack of relationship existed between the person he's bad-mouthing me to.
You know what? Exactly. And you know what I think? I think he knows enough about you. Yep. He knows enough about Scott Hancock. He knows enough about Vox, and you're all on the same side, right? And that's all he needs to know.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's I don't know. I don't understand that about people just I don't know, whatever. But anyway, so there was that, and then this one really got me, and I shared it on Instagram today. A guy, I will say his name because it is the name of his thing on YouTube. What is his name here? Thomas Kennard. He commented on the Liberty Rifles video we did, which has almost 12,000 views now. And he says something like, "Who's the little kid? Nobody cares." And so I responded, you mean like how nobody cares what you think? Yeah. And so in honor of that guy, when we go into break, we're going to play a little segment of that kid, our little buddy Jacob, who everybody else freaking loved. Yeah. And please, you just honestly,
and what is wrong with
indifferent? Huh?
I was kind of indifferent.
You were indifferent to Jacob.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, full disclosure, that's an inside joke about Jacob saying you were cold-hearted.
Right.
Yeah. That's fine.
Okay, it took me a second. Yes, you're right.
Well played, Eric. That was cute.
I don't care about your kids.
Oh, boy.
Jacob's listening right now saying, see, Mom, see, Dad, see, I told you, Eric, told you.
I didn't say he was wrong. I just don't like being called on it by a 4-year-old.
He's 8.
Whatever.
Okay.
It's the same.
But how do you do this? A little kid.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, right. Then don't say anything.
Just don't say anything.
Yeah, I mean.
I know it was directed at us. Why did you put this little kid in the video? It has nothing to do with history. I just want my history. And that's great. There's a million places where you can go and get pure, unadulterated, lecture-style, boring history.
We have a bunch of those, too.
We have tons of those. Yeah. But we also like to have fun with it. Everybody that, we were out at an encampment, and by the way, it was 3,000 degrees. Yeah. Everybody was suffering. Yeah. And so we're trying to find a little bit of fun in this whole, hellscape. Yeah. And there's little Jacob.
Who loves history, by the way, which is the next generation of kids coming through or people coming through.
Exactly. Yeah, Thomas Kennard. Way to discourage this kid from getting into it. And that's the problem. See, that's why people don't want to get into this, because there's people like him that can't just, I don't even know what the word is.
It's gatekeeping.
Gatekeeping. He's a gatekeeper. Yes, my history. I have to protect my little history.
What the best part about it is, most of those guys don't know what the hell they're talking about.
No,
they don't actually know.
They're movie people.
They're movie people. They're lost causers and all that kind of shit.
Yeah, they all believe in fiction.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyway, the other thing is, and ladies and gentlemen, I get so many messages now asking if I am behind Taurons of Gettysburg. And the answer is no. I don't know who's behind Taurons of Gettysburg. I love Taurons of Gettysburg. That's why I share it. That's probably why you think I'm behind it. I actually contacted the person and I said, hey, everybody keeps asking if it's me. Who are you? And he's like, not you. That was his answer. And that was the best I got out of him.
How do you know it was a he?
Well, I assume it was a he because it's so clever.
You sexist bitch. What the hell?
Veronica. This is history stuff. Men are talking, okay?
Yeah, excuse
Men are
me.
talking.
I'll go back to the kitchen. I have my bare feet today, so.
There you go. There you go. Leave your shoes at the door and cook me a sandwich. No, I mean, I assume it's a he because that's kind of a dicky thing to do, and who else would do it but a guy? I don't think a chick would do that, right? Chicks are too nice, except for when they're mean, you know. But yeah, I don't think it was a woman that does it. But you could be right. I doubt it. Anyway, it isn't me. It isn't anybody affiliated with the show by design. Now, maybe someone secretly is, but I don't think so because I think I would have heard about it or something like that. So anyway, that's it. All right, now, Eric, let us get to our little buddy Jacob, and I hope Thomas Kennard is watching so that he can flip out at this little child here. And then we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. Okay, so go ahead, Eric, whenever you're ready.
What am I going to?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's in the theater.
Thanks.
I thought I told you that before. I didn't.
Move on.
Okay, go ahead. You like to listen to our show still, right?
Yes.
Okay. What is your favorite thing to listen to? It's been a while since I asked you this question, so has that changed?
No, not really.
Okay. Do you remember what it was that you said that your favorite thing to listen to is?
No.
Me neither. What is your favorite thing?
The soundtrack. I like the soundtrack. My favorite one is Fife and Gun. Because...
You're talking about the movie Gettysburg.
No.
Yes, you are.
There's a soundtrack.
Yeah, to the movie Gettysburg. I'm talking about our show.
But there's a song called...
Fife and Gun, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's from the movie.
Okay.
Oh, well, what do you mean, okay? Like, I'm the one who's not getting this conversation. I'm asking you about our show.
Okay.
Okay, forget it. You don't like our show, apparently. What do you think of Veronica?
She's cute.
Ah.
I meant to say sweet.
Oh, even better. How about Eric?
Yeah, I guess. And you are cool, too.
I know that.
My mom has an address in Gettysburg shirt on.
So does your dad.
Yep. And then on the back it says, history's not boring.
That's right. That's right. And is that true?
Yeah.
It's not boring.
No, it's not boring.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
And your book about Robert E. Lee is going to be very interesting.
It's not just about Robert E. Lee.
Well, what's it about?
I've only got half of a page one done. I'm typing.
Hey, listen.
I'm typing.
The journey of 1,000 miles begins
computer.
with the first step, okay? So just keep doing it, okay? If all you do is write one word in one day, that's progress.
Not really.
No, it is. I'm telling you.
If I wrote like 5 or 10 rows a day, that would be epic.
No. 5 or 10 chapters a day would be epic. 5 or 10 words would be good too.
It's only that thick.
All I'm saying is don't beat yourself up if all you get is one word. Okay?
I have about that thick of a book done.
I thought you said you only have a page.
Half of a page.
Oh, half of a page.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you just keep working at it. You'll get it.
Very family friendly. We had a wonderful time with our son.
Me and my friends were able to rent these bikes and go at our own pace, so we were able to just do what we wanted to do when we wanted to do it, and I highly recommend it to anybody else.
It seemed like the right way to go to view the wonderful sights and also get an incredible amount of history from Bob.
Our tour guide Bruce was so knowledgeable about the facts and the history of these battlefields that I came away with an understanding that was unmatched by any other means.
The breeze on the battlefield made up for the hot day.
We had a wonderful time.
Great trip, lots of history, wonderful bike ride, perfect weather. Could have asked for a nicer day. Highly recommend it.
If you're going to tour Gettysburg, I would recommend doing it on the bike. It's a lot of fun.
I loved it. It was awesome.
We really couldn't stump the professor with any of our questions, so we thought it was really well worth it.
It was an excellent day out and got you outside and experienced the weather. Beautiful weather out here today.
We had a lot of fun. If you're thinking about it, I'd just say give it a shot. It was awesome for us. I hope it's awesome for you guys too.
Go to gettysbike.com or call 717-752-7752 to book a battlefield experience you will never forget.
You've heard us promote various ways that you can help us keep the show going, but one way we haven't pushed too much is our sutlery at addressinggettysburg.com/shop. That's a shame because we have designs over there by talented artists like Ty DeWitt of 1863 Designs and Mike Stretch of the Heritage Depot. So now we're promoting it. Buying shirts, hoodies, mugs, and other items from our sutlery not only helps us keep the lights on, but it also helps guys like Ty and Mike, and it helps spread the word about the show every time you wear an item or you sip from your mug. So head over to addressinggettysburg.com/shop and grab some merch. It's the perfect Christmas gift for the Gettys nerd in your family. That's addressinggettysburg.com/shop.
Have you noticed our revamped website at addressinggettysburg.com? Well, that's the fine work of a man named Mike Stretch, and he also redid our logo for us. Both of them I originally designed, and both of them were originally horrible, but now they're nice, and that's all thanks to Mike. Mike has an awesome t-shirt company called Heritage Depot. There you'll find great designs based on Gettysburg and the Civil War with t-shirts and other types of merchandise. So go to heritage-depot.com and spruce up your Gettys Nerd wardrobe. That's heritage-depot.com. Our favorite bookstore in Gettysburg is For the Historian, located at 42 York Street. It's because they have the best selection of Civil War books in Gettysburg, both new and used. And online, they have even more to choose from. And if the Civil War isn't your thing, that's not a problem. This is For the Historian, after all. They cover history from the ancient world to the 21st century with a strong selection of World War II and American Revolution books. It's astounding how many thousands of titles from Osprey, Savas Beatty, UNC Press, and more they have in their store. And that's because, well, they have a warehouse too. And that's where they keep all the books that are available online at forthehistorian.com. And folks, if you go to forthehistorian.com now and order books until you're blue in the face, be sure you mention that you heard about them on Addressing Gettysburg in the Note to Seller box, and they will refund your shipping costs. And if you prefer to stop by when you're in town, well, you could do that too. Just mention Addressing Gettysburg at checkout, and they'll take 20% off the retail price of your item. So go to forthehistorian.com or stop by 42 York Street, or you can call them at 717-685-5207. That's forthehistorian.com or 717-685-5207.
From the patriots of Bunker Hill to those who embarked upon the Great Crusade at Normandy. From the blue-clad Federals at Gettysburg who gave the last full measure of devotion, to the many thousands who did the same at places like Belleau Wood, Chosin, Ia Drang, and Fallujah. The American warrior is the greatest warrior the world has ever known, who, through sacrifice and dedication to the nation they served, have composed a history worthy of being remembered. Join me, Colby Sumner, to hear their story and to connect our current and future American warriors to those of our past on America, Fog of War.
You're listening to Addressing Gettysburg.
Glad you stuck around. We're back. Here's Matt.
Sorry, I didn't mean to blow everybody's ears out there. Yeah, I had to switch it over so that we could hear the Jacob audio, and then when you switch it back, it like sets everything up really high, and you got to reset things. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back, of course, and we're back with our buddy Ken Rich. Ken heard last week's show when we were talking about Jennie Wade with Amy Welsh, and Ken came in during the week, and he said, "Matt, you are a classic idiot," I think is what you said.
I did not.
What? You sure? I don't know. And I said, "Ken, why would you say such a thing?" And he said, "Well, there's more to the story that you didn't cover." And I said, "All right, well, one of the things that you had talked about." Now, of course, the Jennie Wade story, there's the official story that the Jennie Wade industrial complex wants us all to believe. But then, those of us who know our real history, right, Eric? Real history?
Yeah.
We know.
It was General Lee.
It was General Lee.
Absolutely.
The whole reason for the invasion was because Lee wanted to terminate a pregnancy.
General Lee was the kindest, most gentlemanly Southerner.
You're right. He wouldn't cheat on his wife.
No.
And so, well, that's why he had to kill Jennie Wade. Because he didn't want people to know that he cheated on his wife. But no, in all seriousness. The Wades. So, okay, Jennie Wade herself. For a long time, she had a reputation of being, what did John Burns call her? He didn't actually use the word.
She-rebel.
A she-rebel.
She-rebel. That was one, yes.
Called her she-rebel.
Yes.
Move a little. Bring that mic into you a little. Just pull the mic in a little bit more.
Okay.
A she-rebel. Also, like she had a reputation of being, I want to say, loose.
Well, yeah, the bad girl reputation.
Yeah, bad girl reputation. And then letters surfaced between her and Jack Skelly. So the impression I always got was that she, might have been cheating on Jack. And then, because didn't his mother write him a letter saying, "Hey, she's been keeping company at late hours with these boys"?
She's definitely not pro Jennie.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And she's very, I guess, in the Burns camp of people that don't like Jennie Wade.
Right.
Okay. So the number one is John Burns, backed by Jack's mom. But if something's going on between them, wouldn't you think Mom would know? Moms know that stuff.
Mom, between Jack and Jennie?
Yeah.
Well, she does know because she wrote him a letter and she said, "Hey, your girl's been with these other boys."
So she's like right into all of it.
Right.
And then Jack says the argument about the gossiping. Okay. First, my disclaimer. It's entirely possible I make a mistake tonight. I'm just saying.
Okay. Well, you just did a tour and you were caught out
in
the rain.
in the rain for 2 hours, right? But I'm dry now.
Good.
And so this family, right?
Yeah.
And I always point out it's the story of three tailors.
Yes.
Right.
This is what I want you to get
into. And so first we have Johnson Scully Sr., right? And he starts a tailor business, and I'm not sure where he starts it at. It might even be in the Gray House. I don't have that in my notes.
The Gray House.
On 300 Baltimore Street or whatever we call that, the house where Jennie Wade was born at.
Okay.
Yeah. So Scully might even have been there before the Wade families, but that's they're there. We can get to the details. But he's doing well. So well, he needs to hire somebody else.
Okay.
All right. And so the business is booming. This is, let's see, 1838-ish, right?
All right.
And lo and behold, there's a new guy in town. His name's James Wade from Virginia. He says he's got a tailor. He's looking for work.
Uh-huh.
Right? And so now what we're also going to have at the same time is that these families become intertwined. They're working together, right? And I'll go a little bit over, too, about the kids in a minute. So for the Scully family, they build a nice brick house on Middle Street.
Okay.
And
where on Middle Street?
Let's see. I think it's 47.
So is that the first block off of Baltimore?
First block off of Baltimore, north side.
West Middle.
Yeah. I'm sorry. West Middle Street, right? And the north side of West Middle Street is about in the middle. I think it's like Gray Door.
Okay.
Off the top of my head.
Yep.
But anyway, it's there on that one. And so now the Wades, James Wade marries Mary Philby, right? He is in jail. George is born, and then they're in the house. And he's a good guy, bad guy, depending upon what account. Obviously, he's a Southerner, and I like to think of it this way, and of course it's not, but maybe it is. So we've got a guy in a Pennsylvania bar in 1840 with a Southern accent. All right, okay, and and so that could create a problem.
Sure,
Okay?
sure.
All right, and then who gets to solve the problem? Probably Constable Burns.
Okay.
All right, so we'll, and we went back and Tim has this stuff all documented.
Tim Smith.
Right, Tim Smith on what happened and Wade's James Wade's history, with interaction with the law. Right.
Okay.
But at the same time, he's well respected around town. He's captain of one of the guard units for a while. And his television is great.
I'm sorry, Burns or Wade?
No, Wade. I'm sorry, James Wade. Okay, James Wade is I said, well respected around town in other circles. Captain of the militia company, and then again, the tailor business is doing great. But at the same time, there's this other side with the interaction with the law, right? And some say, well, maybe he's drinking too much. Who knows, right? On all parts of it. But when what gets said and done, of course, is that now James Wade's in prison. The last child, Harry's born, and then he's in the almshouse for the rest of his life.
Now, why does he go to prison? Is he the guy that found $300 and then went to Baltimore on a binge?
I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so the short part of the story is that somebody loses a wallet with money in it. And, I got that James Wade turned the wallet in and there's no money there. And then the binge to Baltimore shows up. And so the sheriff goes and gets him and, some of the money's gone and how crazy that is. And I got somebody else sort that one out. All right, honest to God, okay. That's a mess. But the end result is that he ends up in prison in Philadelphia in solitary confinement. Okay. Now, whether he's there
An Eastern State Penitentiary,
you
that one?
You can get a visit, you can get a tour of that.
Yeah.
Right. They had I said Al Capone was there. They sent a company off to World War I. Right, out of inmates. Oh wow. Okay.
Oh really?
And the survivors get their sentence commuted. And there's all kinds of cool stuff in here. There's plaques in the door of these of these famous prisoners and what they did good afterwards. So there we go. Yeah, that's a whole other tour, right? And so now we have a couple things that happen here. One is that James not available, right? Now, of course, we always hear Georgia and Jennie.
Yeah.
We forget that there's a son right afterwards, Jack, right?
Okay.
I think he's named after Johnson Scully Sr.
Okay.
All right. I think that's where his name comes from.
They were associates business-wise, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Okay. And maybe more. All right. I mean, so
lovers as well.
No.
Oh.
There are times when Jennie is working as a seamstress for the Scullys.
Okay.
All right. That Georgia changes from seamstress to milliner to make ladies' hats.
Hat maker. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Cool tie-in. I go looking at who else is a milliner in 1860 census. Nellie Augenball. She writes, Jennie Wade's my best friend, and her story, right? One of the Barr sisters up there by the
Roseanne.
not Roseanne.
No.
Okay. I don't remember which one. There's three sisters living there, but also Maria Bennett is living on the same block. She's a milliner.
Okay.
I think she even gets confused for Georgia at times. These girls, they're all between 20 and 30 years old. They all look alike. They got the same hairstyle.
Right.
They're all 5'2". I mean, it's it's which one is it, right? I digress. I went on the wrong direction. So they're milliners, right? They're all working together. And now, so James Wade is in prison. And it is improper for young ladies in Victorian America to be tailors.
Okay, now wait, pause there.
Okay.
When is he in prison?
50s,
60s?
50. Okay, so I'm going to go around 52.
Okay, so
Yeah, 52, 53, right?
And his wife and children have to put food on the table, and so they continue his business.
Right.
Right? That's where you're going with this. I just want to make that clear to everybody.
Yes,
okay, so now what's not proper for the young ladies to do?
Well, first off, they've got Jack there, all right?
Jack the son,
third son,
not
right?
Jack Skelly.
Yeah, the third child.
Right.
Right, and so maybe they're using him as the male in the house to keep the tailoring things going. So
Okay.
that's part of it. I'm not quite sure how this works itself out. But young ladies don't measure men's inseams
Right.
in 1850.
Right.
They just don't do that.
Yeah.
All right? And then we're going to move this story forward. There's the 2 other steps. James Wade needs another associate, somebody else to get the overflow. And that's where Jesse Culp comes in.
Aha.
All right? Okay. So now
Jesse is who?
Jesse Culp is Wesley Culp's father.
Right.
All right? And although Jesse Culp has 4 children, all right, I think Wesley's the 3rd one, if I got to hear my notes right. But they're all a little bit older than the Wade children, but there's still some tie-ins.
Okay.
Right? Okay, between the kids. Because the kids are going to, like, pull them together, right? And so with that, the Wades have enough money from the Taylor business. They've scraped together enough money to buy the small house on Breckenridge Street.
Okay.
All right, now, we're going to roll on. All right, and you guys know the story. So Wesley's in Virginia, right? Jack's in the Army.
Right.
All right, and, Thaddeus Stevens is the congressman from Gettysburg.
Right.
All right, and the folks around here, the Confederate cavalry got into the next valley the year before, after Antietam.
Up by Cashtown.
Right. Okay. And whatever Fairfield, I guess that area, in that valley, Carroll Valley, I should say, not being town specific, but just in Carroll Valley.
Right.
Okay. So, the folks around here are saying, Dad, help us out here, boss. And so they put the 10th New York Cavalry in town. Right. So 10th New York Cavalry's here. And these guys have had a year of service, and their uniforms are in tatters. So all the tailors in town want that business.
Sure.
All right, and the Wades get a big chunk of it.
Okay.
All right, and so, and of course now the Wades, maybe Georgia's married, but her husband's in the Army. All right, so you got Georgia and Jennie, they're 20 and 18, and you got these soldier boys, they haven't seen their girlfriends in New York, and they're sitting around after work getting their uniform fixed, talking.
Yeah.
All right, and of course, Mrs. Scully catches up on that on the letters. But now let's think about this, all right? The Scullys should be getting that uniform contract. And now Jesse Culp's no help to him because he's passed away of natural causes. Okay. Right? And the Wades are picking up that slack on their own, and so they're in competition. Now, for me, and the way I see this in my mind, I try to rationalize things. I try to find middles of things. I try to find motivation. So I don't always find the motivation in the document, but I look at the document and maybe I can find the motivation.
And this is very important. I like this because these are human beings we're talking about, and the human condition has not changed in thousands of years.
Right, and so we can't always find it in type.
Right.
But and there was one time there was a history teacher I had said that we have to read between the lines. Right. And so here, Mrs. Scully can't be happy that the Wades are picking up that tailoring business. That ought to be her husband's. Right. That cash should be coming into her house.
Right.
All right. Now, if you got that, I think that that's part of the animosity between Mrs. Scully and Jennie.
And Mrs. Scully, not Mrs. Wade.
Right.
Okay.
Right, yeah. Or actually, between Mrs. Scully and Mrs. Wade, it just filters to Jennie.
Of course.
All right, because she's running the show.
Well, but my question is, do you think it filtered to Jennie before Jennie died, or do you think that her death made her a celebrity?
Oh, it was before.
And everybody was jealous.
It was before.
Okay.
Okay, because you got to. So in every small town in America,
right?
Maybe even today, you have busybodies walking around.
You think?
Okay.
Yeah.
And the busybodies are walking around the town saying this happened and this happened.
That's what Veronica does all all the time. She's just a gossip.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that.
Thanks, Ken.
All right. And Veronica, I don't always agree on things, other than I like Veronica.
Thank you. Thanks, Ken.
That's right.
Okay.
I'll take that.
Okay. So, and so, so the busybodies are all, and of course, Mrs. Scully is, kind of up there in the crowd. She has a certain status. Her husband is a long-term businessman. He's had a business there in town all that time. All the other businessmen, they know each other. They hang out. They know who's worth something, who isn't worth something. And so Mrs. Scully is the worth of her husband. And if Mrs. Scully's upset about this, she's going to tell the other folks' wives. All right. And, so we got some other confusing things here that we have to look at.
I got a question. So
Sure.
Breckenridge Street today,
Right.
and this isn't a slam on Breckenridge Street, but it's a lower income area.
Well, it needs an uplift, but remember South Street looked like that 2 years ago too.
Okay, good point.
They redid South
Yeah.
Street. When's the borough going to redo that street?
Yes, Breckenridge, which
Right.
looks like a hellhole. But
Yeah.
my point is, though, was that a low income area then? Do we know, like, because you know how like towns have sections?
Quadrant wise. All
Yeah.
right. Okay, so let's do the whole quadrant.
The wards,
Okay, so Baltimore Street, right?
right?
All right, up to High Street.
Okay.
All right, and maybe even touch the middle.
Okay.
All right, and then over 1 block to Washington.
Okay,
and
going
then,
west,
and
yeah.
then 1 block on the other side of Washington to West Street.
Okay.
All right, I would say that area was typically on the lower income side. And it's hard for me to do that without going back and hitting names and looking at their value, their land value in
Right.
1860. So you could, all right. But I know that there's a couple folks have said that, all right.
Well, and the reason I
but
asked,
also know
though-
that- okay, so but we also have to understand that then that same quadrant,
Yeah.
all right, is integrated,
Yes.
all right, and that's kind of unique.
Yep.
All right. And so you have some of the African American families that live there. All right. One story I like to tag into things is that Jack Hopkins from the college, all right, his title is janitor of the college.
Oh yeah.
Right. We probably think he was probably doing classes.
Mm-hmm.
He buys a house on Washington Street. All right. And he buys that from Abraham Bryan.
Okay.
All right.
Wow, really?
Okay, I believe that's true.
Okay.
All right. And that there's 2 others there that are probably Brian's brothers, but in a sense, all 3 names are spelled differently. Okay. And that's crazy research stuff. The family that lives next door to Georgia McClellan,
Yeah.
McCain family.
Yep.
I have 5 records on them. All 5 records, the name's spelled wrong, different.
Right, because it's McClain.
Oh yeah,
McLean.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all scrambled.
Right.
But we know it's the same family.
Right, right.
That's how to put it together, right?
Okay.
So that becomes part of it. So we know that this stuff gets kind of screwy.
So
But
I guess my question is,
but
though.
answer your question
yeah.
is that it is it's integrated. It's probably lower income. It's starter family houses with some exceptions.
Yeah,
all
of
right?
course.
Okay. The Myers family. All right. I'm trying to think of her dad, of Sally Myers' dad's name. Her brother's Jefferson.
Mr. Myers.
Mr. Myers.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, but he's a lawyer. All right.
Okay.
And to me, for all the other lawyers' houses in town, that's kind of nondescript. Okay. So I don't want to say he was a bad lawyer. but that's kind of interesting.
Might have been a new lawyer.
Miss Eiser's Ladies Academy's there.
Yes.
All right. Another house that's there is a rental that Samuel Smucker owns.
Okay.
All right.
On Breckenridge or in that region?
High Street.
High Street,
High
okay.
in Washington.
Well, but so I guess my question is, though, because you know how sometimes people who are less fortunate often get looked down upon by
Right.
people who are above them.
Right.
And oftentimes behavior is different.
Right.
You know, and so maybe people just look down on the Wades, even though they were also doing business at some points and
sure.
everything.
Okay,
But like,
okay,
I mean,
so-
there's a lot of, and I guess my point is, there's a lot of things that go into the way the Wades were looked at,
Sure.
perhaps.
Sure.
And so, and then you top that all off with she gets killed. She just all she
right,
did was
so-
stand in the way of the bullet, and then people want to know about Jennie Wade, and that would also make people resent her in absentia or post-mortem
So-
or whatever.
And let me address I guess it kind of we're scrambling here, but if we talk about after the battle,
Yeah.
all right, and now I look at the gray house on Baltimore Street where she was born,
Right.
and the plaque her sister put there,
Right.
all right, and the plaque says then the word that gets me every time: heroin. Heroin of the Battle of Gettysburg.
Yes.
All right, and
She was
and
not a
she's-
drug addict, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, yes, okay, and that's Ken's Baltimore pronunciation, right? So hear this out. When I started studying the Civil War,
right?
All right, and you made a comment too. Like I just went to a funeral of a cousin, and the only person in the room of all these relatives that was older than me was his mom. That was it.
That's depressing.
You know? But
Yeah.
so I and heroin. When I started studying this, All right, so we're looking at me reading books at the 100th anniversary.
Right.
Okay, because I'm an old dude.
Yeah.
And it would be 700,000 deaths in the Civil War, 650 Union soldiers. I'm sorry, 350,000 Union soldiers and 350,000 Confederate soldiers, or whatever the number is. Right. Nothing about the civilians.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So when we're sitting there and we tell this story, if we told the story just honest and right, okay. Jack Scully, well, he represents all those Union boys that didn't come home. And Wesley, and in our minds, and here today in Gettysburg, Wesley represents
misguided boys.
Okay. Represents those sons of those Southern mothers that did not come home.
Right. Yeah, we got it all right here.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
now
Jennie.
All right. So Veronica's a nice person, right?
Yes.
And
she's a heroine.
I would think that, if every house on the block is filled with wounded, she'd pitch in.
Yeah.
All right. And maybe by
One would
6
think.
weeks, her and others, right, as the wounded soldiers are moved to Letterman, her job's kind of done, and she can go home. And then 6 weeks later, she dies from typhoid. And I can find accounts of this. There's a nurse that was helping out at Christ Lutheran and staying, and she had to leave in the middle of July because she had typhoid. She went back to New York and died. All right. And now we get another Alice Powers Pinterhoff. Probably said it wrong. Okay. Her husband's in the Army. She is 6 months pregnant at the time of the battle. Another one. I guess there must have been a lot of leaves at Christmas. And she has a 1-year-old son.
Okay.
Okay. A year later, she dies of unknown causes. Right. The child that she's going to have, that child will live to be a ripe old age.
Okay.
The other son, unfortunately, dies by an accident, a scalding accident.
Oof.
Okay. But
That
that's
sounds
terrible.
painful.
Right.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that might well have something to do with cleaning up the house after the wounded are gone.
Right.
All right. I mean, I'm thinking, there's a reason why that hot scalding water is there.
Sure.
Okay?
Of course.
And so that child dies. But as I go around, I start looking at these deaths, and I don't understand why these young people are dying. Now, I understand today that you could be 37 and get brain cancer.
Yeah.
That's tragic. It just happened to my family.
That's
but I mean, you can have these things happen. At the same time, we're looking at doctors and nurses that are 25 here, and they're dead when they're 35.
Yeah. Well, it's a hard life.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Okay? And maybe, and then we don't even know it today, we do, but then we didn't understand it. What about the ones that commit suicide when they're 35? They've had 10 years of memories. Right? Letterman, right? He commits suicide. I forget which year, but get my message.
Yeah.
All right.
Dr. Letterman.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
David Letterman.
Yeah.
I did not know he committed
No,
suicide.
David should.
Ouch.
That's awful.
I didn't know that.
Well, that's all right. Okay. Actually, in Night Host, he's not the worst one. I have a co-host
he was
I like
great.
a whole lot less. That you probably think are great. So,
I just hate you, and I hate your ass face.
Yeah. So, all right. So, what about? And we take two sets of these: refugees, and this will be white families that have to leave their areas and go to camps because the war's there.
Okay.
And then African Americans.
Right.
They're going two ways. One is that they're going from the plantation to work camps, and they're going to refugee camps. And, in your town, maybe everybody had the mumps.
Okay.
Right? And in your town, maybe everybody had the measles. And now they get these camps, and everybody gets all these diseases.
Right.
And one way that we have no idea how many people died in the refugee camps and the work camps. Right. We have no idea how many people died from typhoid because the army was in their town.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think I told folks on the tours, I don't know, 300,000. And so doesn't Jennie kind of represent them? all the ones that we don't have an answer for.
So we
know Jenny, but we don't know anything about the rest of these.
What you're saying is that between Jenny, Jack, and Wesley, we have a representation of the three common maybe types of deaths, or the three types of deaths: Union, Confederate, and civilian.
Okay, and I put another term. They represent the loss.
Yeah.
They're symbolic. They symbolize the loss that we had to go through to figure this all out.
So you think then that the reason why everybody is all fawning over Jenny Wade all this time is because of that, because she's symbolic.
Sorry, I mean, there's so many things.
Oh, okay.
All right, and I don't want to go off on a tangent, but...
you don't want to go off on a tangent?
Yeah, I'm thinking, I got a big one in my head, and I'm not going to do it. There's no... all right, so I've been researching the soldiers from Adams County that died in the war.
Right.
Okay?
Okay.
And there's a dozen of them. We have no idea where their grave is. They died at the wilderness.
Okay.
They died, okay, so there's no recovery.
Okay.
I'm saying 12. I'm probably wrong. It's probably more than
right,
that.
but a good
so
number.
The only place that they have representation is the monument on Middle Street. All right, so the only
what
place...
monument on Middle Street?
Okay, outside the GAR Hall is the GAR monument.
Yes,
okay?
I forgot about
and
that.
And on it is 168 names, and that's 168 names of the boys from Adams County that died in the Civil War.
Except for?
I think I'm at 12 African Americans.
That's right. So it's not all of the Adams County soldiers.
Right. Okay, but that's an interesting part of the story, too.
Yeah.
All right, okay, so we have them. So the only place that parent has to go is that GR monument.
Yeah.
Okay, the only place that the parent has to go out here is that regimental monument.
Right.
All right?
No grave, in other words, is what
There's
you're
no
saying.
grave for these guys. There's no place that we don't know where they are. Okay? Maybe, thank God, maybe they at least got buried amongst the unknowns. Maybe they disappeared in a cannon blast. We don't know.
And Jenny has a big monument on her grave that is basically squishing the grave of the poor soldier next to her, who's got this tiny little thing. No, have you seen it?
Yeah. But, and here again. All right, so the Women's Relief Association, all right, and then we have to follow them through a little bit. For my generation, and maybe some of yours, the VFW.
Yeah.
Right? And the VFW would have the Women's Auxiliary.
Right.
So they had their own club, right? Civil War, the GAR and the Auxiliary is the Women's Relief Association.
Okay.
All right, and so like Georgia, when she's president of Iowa or secretary of the national organization, that's kind of something that people would know. All right? Yeah, I mean, you would kind of know that name, you would be looking at it, right?
What do you mean she was president of Iowa?
She was president of the Iowa Women's Relief Association.
Oh.
Georgia was. Yes, Georgia was, right?
Wait, okay.
And she was secretary for the National Women's Relief Association, even at one point.
Right.
But, to follow me through, they're going to be the Women's Relief Association, care of the wounded, then recovery of the maimed, and then temperance, and then suffrage.
Yeah.
All right, and so I mean they're going to take up they take up women's issues. We think suffrage, and we're doing Katie Stanton, and we're doing Susan B. Anthony.
Right.
Okay, but what about these women in Iowa and Colorado and so on? Because that's where the votes are, folks.
Well, yeah, and those are
those votes out there. That's the ones that count.
A lot of them are still territories wanting to become states, so this is an opportunity to lead the way.
But the Constitution Amendment could only pass by a state.
Right.
Okay, so it has to be approved by the state. So they have to get those. To get all the states that exist, they got to get them in line.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's part of it too. I mean, it's just again tangents that I go to.
Yeah.
Monuments and suffrage.
And suffrage.
But it's all part of the story, right? And then I would add one other thing to the story here, and something to think about, right? And we started out this story with the association, all right, between the Scully families, right? And so I always envision out there in that gray house on Baltimore Street, all right, or behind the Breckenridge house, or even at the Scully's house on Middle Street, right?
Mm-hmm.
And anybody out there that has teenagers, all right, this is going to be interesting. Hold on. Pause. Why I put some, okay, so Henry Comfort is Maria Comfort's son, all right, and he and the oldest Scully girl are the same age, all right? James Wade, and is he with the family or not? I don't know. But he's the same age as Charles Scully and Wesley Culp.
James Wade, the father?
James Wade, the illegitimate son.
The illegitimate son.
first
And that's
son.
a whole other thing to get
Right,
into.
yeah, that's whole, okay, but
Yeah.
they're the same age.
Right.
Okay, so if nothing else, they're going to know each other. Okay,
Of
so
course. I mean,
okay, if
they
you
all grew up together.
Sure. If you have a teenager in your house,
Right.
and you live on a block, in Gettysburg
Yeah.
or Baltimore,
Right.
you're going to have every teenager on the block in your house at one time.
Yeah, of course.
All right, and so they're all the same age. Then Jack Scully and Georgia Wade, they're the same age. Mary Virginia Wade is the same age as the Scully twins.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
Dan and Sarah. And so it goes, right? It goes all the way down the line. And then we go to John Wade and Julia Culp are the same age, right? And so they're all associated with each other, and probably, as we did in elementary school, oh my gosh, you were a sixth grader, you didn't hang out with the fifth graders, did you? Oh, not those little snots, right?
But you knew them.
But that's what I'm
you
saying.
Knew
But you knew them.
you
Right?
knew
They
who they
were
were.
siblings.
Yeah,
exactly.
And I don't come from a small family. All right, I'm in a baby.
Right.
family.
So you knew everybody's friends
Oh yeah,
in your
so
family.
we got 6 kids in my family, and everybody on the block who had 6 kids. Well, this one went to school with John. This one went to school with Walter.
Sure.
She went to school with Steve. We knew all that, and that's what happens here.
Yeah.
And that binds the family closer together, right? And so when this all happens in the spring of 1863, think about this whole thing too, about how binded together this family is.
Yes.
Are they mad at Wesley? I think William is, right? His older brother. I don't think initially he is, but eventually I think his older brother is,
I
right?
think, yeah.
Okay. And so who else is mad at who, right? Right now we don't believe that Wesley ever talked to the Scullys. That he just talked to one of his sisters.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I don't know, how would that go if he really did? Go into the Scully house and he's in a Confederate uniform and say, look, Jack's laying in a church down in Virginia. Oh my gosh, I don't, and look, his sister is either around the corner or across the street from the Scullys.
Mm-hmm.
So why didn't he walk across the street?
Didn't he? I thought he did.
Well, right now I'm getting that he didn't talk to the Scullys.
Why didn't he go
Okay,
to the Skelly's
house? Right.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
I thought you meant his sister. So I'm sorry. Yeah. So he talks to his sister.
Right.
Right. But across the street too.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's just crazy stuff.
It is. It's all crazy stuff, and it's even crazier now because there's so many layers to the whole thing.
Right.
But Ken, we got to take a break and everything. And so if you got questions for Ken, give us a call. We're going to be back with Ronnie's News. Ken, you're welcome to stick around, of course, and join us. And we will be right back.
Have something to add to the conversation? Give us a call at 717-420-1978 and get in the queue.
Our friends at the Association of Licensed Battlefield Guides want to see you at their 2022 Fall Seminar on September 23rd through 25th. This year's topic is Hancock's Second Corps at Gettysburg, with a full weekend of education and social activities devoted to General Hancock and his Corps. The Licensed Battlefield Guides have some superb Second Corps-themed battlefield tours lined up for you, including Attack of the Irish Brigade, Caldwell Strikes the Wheat Field, and more. On top of that, there will be a Friday night speaker and dinner at the Dobbin House, Saturday night cigars at the Rupp House, maps, and other extras. And if that wasn't good enough, how about this? Special hotel room rates are available for you at the 1863 Inn of Gettysburg, but you gotta make sure that you reserve a room before August 9th. Register for the tours on the ALBG website at gettysburgtourguides.org/ALBG seminar. Those dates again are September 23rd through 25th. Come and learn about Hancock and the Second Corps with your favorite licensed battlefield guides and fellow Gettys nerds. We hope to see you there.
You've heard us promote various ways that you can help us keep the show going, but one way we haven't pushed too much is our sutlery at addressinggettysburg.com/shop. That's a shame because we have designs over there by talented artists like Ty DeWitt of 1863 Designs and Mike Stretch of the Heritage Depot. So now we're promoting it. Buying shirts, hoodies, mugs, and other items from our sutlery not only helps us keep the lights on, but it also helps guys like Ty and Mike, and it helps spread the word about the show every time you wear an item or you sip from your mug. So head over to addressinggettysburg.com/shop and grab some merch. It's the perfect Christmas gift for the Gettys nerd in your family. That's addressinggettysburg.com/shop.
Gettysburg, a Nation Divided mobile app, is relaunching this summer. Gettysburg, a Nation Divided is an award-winning mixed reality mobile application using augmented reality technology. It transports users into the most crucial moments in the Battle of Gettysburg, the turning point of the Civil War. Users can listen and watch historic figures share their stories as lifelike animated avatars, traverse 360-degree image sequences of the battlefield. Its cinematic battle sequences are narrated by actor Scott Eastwood. The mobile app is available for free on iOS and Android. It's designed to be used anywhere. At home, at school, at the park, or at Gettysburg National Military Park. It uses GPS to help guide you through your journey to see the stories and events unfold at the exact location where they occurred. So go into your phone's app store and get it now for free. That's Gettysburg, a Nation Divided.
Need a Corps badge or other insignia for your uniform? Then check out the Badge Maker. Here's what some of his satisfied customers had to say. Miranda said, "I ordered an identification disc from Joe and it's fantastic. He hand stamped it exactly as I wanted. It has a great rough on-campaign feel to it and was reasonably priced to boot." Greg said, "My unit has purchased from him in the past. Quality badges and good service." And Jerry S. says, "The Badge Maker is the go-to place for accurate replica Civil War badges. Visit CivilWarCorpsBadges.com and attach a message with your order saying you heard about him on Addressing Gettysburg."
The Seminary Ridge Museum and Education Center, Gettysburg's premier museum, is housed in the historic Lutheran Seminary building constructed in 1832, a witness to the first day of battle. The museum's 3 floors of exhibits connect visitors to the dilemmas that led to the Civil War, provide a powerful and personal view of the battle's first day, and explore one of the battlefield's largest hospitals. No visit to the Seminary Ridge Museum and Education Center is complete without a guided tour of the building's famous cupola, where on the eve of battle, officers and civilians saw thousands of Confederate soldiers' campfires burning to the west, and Brigadier General John Buford watched for vital federal reinforcements as fighting erupted on July 1st. Today, you can stand where Buford stood and delivered the line,
"There's a devil to pay,"
and discover how this view helped chart the course of the Battle of Gettysburg. Trust me when I say, ladies and gentlemen, your trip to Gettysburg is not complete without a serious visit to the Seminary Ridge Museum and Education Center, Gettysburg's premier museum. Go to www.seminaryridgemuseum.org or find them at 111 Seminary Ridge, Gettysburg. The Seminary Ridge Museum and Education Center. It all began here. Our favorite bookstore in Gettysburg is For the Historian, located at 42 York Street. Isn't it, Eric?
You're darn tootin', Matt.
It's because they have the best selection of Civil War books in Gettysburg, both new and used, and online they have even more books to choose from.
But Matthew, what if the Civil War is simply not my thing?
Not a problem, my fine four-fendered friend. This is For the Historian, after all. They cover history from the ancient world to the 21st century with a strong selection of World War II and American Revolution books.
It's astounding how they squeeze thousands of titles from Osprey, Savas Beatty, UNC Press, and more into their store.
And it's also astounding how you and I both squeeze into our pants every day. Well, handsome, they have a warehouse too, and that's where they keep all those books that are available online at forthehistorian.com. And folks, if you go to forthehistorian.com now and order books until you're blue in the face, be sure you mention that you heard about them on Addressing Gettysburg in the Note to Seller box, and they will refund your shipping costs.
What if I prefer to browse in the store and don't want to go online to get my book?
Great question, Doodlebug. Just mention Addressing Gettysburg at checkout, and they'll take 20% off the retail price of your item. So go to forthehistorian.com, stop by 42 York Street, or call 717-685-5207. That's forthehistorian.com or 717-685-5207.
This special episode of Addressing Gettysburg is brought to you in part by me, audiobook narrator Mike Scott, narrator of Savas Beatty's Bloody Autumn, the Shenandoah Valley Campaign of 1864, and Unlike Anything That Ever Floated, the Monitor and Virginia and the Battle of Hampton Roads. If you are an author or publisher interested in having your titles produced as audiobooks, or even just in learning more about the process, give me a shout. You can find my contact info on my website, MikeScottVoice.com. That's MikeScottVoice.com. Hey, historian, author, and licensed battlefield guide Tim Smith. Matt gave me a full minute, so let me ask you an important question. Isn't it about time that John Burns' Hero of Gettysburg became an audiobook? Sickles has an audiobook. You know Jennie Wade is going to deserve an audiobook. Let's give John a shot. Get in touch, Tim. It's MikeScottVoice.com. I'm Mike Scott, your voice of history.
And Civil War Trails. It's the world's largest open-air museum, and they offer over 1,300 sites across 6 states. Drive the Gettysburg campaign turn by turn, paddle to Frederick Douglass's birthplace, or hike to remote earthworks and artillery positions. Visit civilwartrails.org to request a brochure and explore their interactive map. Follow Civil War Trails and create some history of your own.
You're listening to the Addressing Gettysburg podcast with Matt Callery.
Was that a ghost? Nah, ghosts aren't real. You're back with Addressing Gettysburg today. Here's Matt.
Okay, so we're just wrapping up here with Kenny. And Ken has one thing that we just want to add here, and then we got to move on to Ronnie's news and go get dinner. Ken?
All right, so what I came across is the official reports of the 58th New York, the ORs. It's our Bible here for guides or whatever to look at.
Sure.
All right, okay. So
Do you have a page number and a volume number?
I did not do that.
Okay.
But I'll get it to you. Maybe I'll put it in comments later when I find it.
Okay.
Okay. At 6 o'clock in the morning, meeting the 58th New York, we were ordered to the right of the road leading to Gettysburg. We were posted behind a stone fence. That's the fence between the quote-unquote Georgia McClellan house, all right?
Or and the Jennie Wade house, as we know
The Jennie Wade
today.
house and the Catherine Snyder house, which would have been on the parking lot that's no longer there.
Got it.
Okay, the next-door neighbors, right? Okay. One company was sent to take possession of the next houses of town on the left of the road. All right, that is what we know as
the Rupp house.
The Rupp house.
Yeah.
All right, so they're sent there, right? Now, also, I want to add to this part of the story. In the Rupp house, you can't stand on the front porch of the Rupp house if the Confederates still control the Welty house across the street.
Okay.
Which means they have to get that too, right?
The New York guys have to get it, yeah.
My logic says they have to be there or they're going to get shot in the back.
Mm-hmm.
All right, okay, so there.
And the Welty house, is that still standing, or is that...
yes, it is.
Which one is that?
Part of it is, it's next to like the Brick House Inn.
Okay.
All right.
So, but that area.
Half of it's there.
Yeah. Okay.
Half of the house is there. The enemy sharpshooters kept up a brisk fire at these houses and killed a girl who was living in one of them. So we have the military saying Jennie was killed.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. Our men escaped uninjured, although they had possession of the house until the end of the battle.
Okay.
All right. So if they weren't in the house before the battle, as soon as Jennie was killed, that would be, we're talking about now 8:30 in the morning on July 3rd, then they're in that house the rest of the battle.
Right. She's dead. She gets killed.
She's
and they're like,
dead.
she's gone, guys. Let's go in.
Exactly. All right. Yeah. Okay. And whether that happens or not, I don't know. You know, I mean, there's now we're starting to think that, if I understood it right, that maybe the Union soldiers were in the upper part of the McCain house beforehand. I don't know. All right, it seems to me that now we're starting to think that maybe they're inside. Mm-hmm. Before, it was always, there were no Union soldiers there, so there was no reason to shoot at the house, right?
See, I heard that there were Union soldiers in there before.
So now that's what I'm thinking, and that's what other folks are saying,
yeah.
All right? But 10 years ago, that would not have been the story, all right? You know, again, it's perceptions, right? If Union soldiers were in there, then the Confederates had a right to shoot at the house.
Right.
All right, and so that didn't happen. We don't tell the story that way,
yes.
right? But on the other end is that we have to keep saying how much of a fight this is. Blackford sharpshooters, that's the Alabama guys. They're on the west side of Baltimore Street. Okay. All right, so they're the only ones that can see the Wade house. If the Union Army has the Welty house, then the other houses, it's blocked. You can't see past the Welty house to see the door.
Right, okay.
All right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, on the back side of the house, the Jennie Wade house today, was an orchard. So you can't see it from that direction because of trees.
Okay.
All right. If you look at the picture in front of the house, and if you look at the picture and the drawing we have from 1863 of the house, there's 3 trees in front. You can't see the house.
The Jennie Wade house.
You can't see the Jennie Wade house because there's trees there.
Okay.
Now you could see a puff of smoke, and you could shoot at a puff of smoke.
Sure.
Right? Okay. So that leads into there's so much firing on. Blackford's guys said Now, we don't know if he has 300 guys left with him when he goes down there that night, but he says his guys fired 200 rounds plus.
Okay.
All right, so even he's got 200 guys times. Okay, so what's my math there?
If he's got 200, it could be one a man.
40,000. You know, no, each man is firing 200 rounds.
Oh, each man is firing 200.
200
okay.
men firing 200 rounds.
Okay.
Okay, I mean, so that's.
I went to Catholic school, Ken. I can't do math.
Four and
in my head.
four and 4 zeros. Okay, so that's 400. Is that right? 400,000 rounds. 400,000 rounds. No, that can't be right.
I don't think that doesn't sound right.
40,000 rounds.
I've already lost track of the numbers.
Yeah, so 40,000 rounds.
40,000 sounds better.
Maybe that does. Maybe it does. Right?
Wait, 200 men firing 200? No, that would be 400,000.
400,000.
Wouldn't it?
No.
4,000.
Yeah.
No, it's 40,000. Thank you. It's 4 zeros. 40,000.
40,000.
You were
okay,
right.
If that,
you got it.
Okay, so that still seems far-fetched, but that's what Blackford writes in his report, right?
Yeah.
That his guys fired that, so I can get his report too. So the reports, we need to have the military reports to match the civilian stories too.
Sure.
Right, and this does. Okay.
So we're going to do a full episode about Jennie Wade on Patreon with you soon. You, ladies and gentlemen, can take a tour, a Jennie Wade tour that Ken does with his business, Reluctant Witnesses Historical Walking Tours. And you got a new email address. It's not on your card that I'm looking at here. What's the new email address?
Oh, no.
Oh, you forgot.
I haven't memorized yet.
Well, listen to the commercial break. I think it's in the commercial break.
yes.
But if not, you can also, can I give him your phone number that you got here?
Sure.
It's 443-324-1936, the year Ken was born.
Yeah.
And that one more time, 443-324-1936. Or you can email him at krtrains@verizon.net and set up one of those tours. You do other than the other tours of the Jennie Wade tour.
For that one, I'm going to go to the places. I'm going to take you to where the houses are, all right, and the neighbors and the friends.
Birthplace, living place, death place.
Right, and neighbors and friends.
Right.
Because there are other, Maria Comfort's in the story. Elizabeth Thorne's in the story. Right, I mean, this is not, it's not just her. There's other people involved in this. And so you kind of need to have the picture.
Yeah, sure.
Or Catherine Snyder. We've forgotten about her. Her house is not there anymore, so nobody talks about her.
Right. All right, very good. And you know what time that is, ladies and gentlemen.
You doing news or events first?
She's the gal who knows what's going on, so take notes. There's a test at the end. Here's AG Today's lead anchor, Veronica Brestensky, with news, traffic, weather, sidewalk conditions, and what's happening this weekend.
I must have all possible information.
Dybbuk schmibbuk, I said more ham.
All right, Ronnie. What have we got? The news is back, and people have missed you, and they've missed the news. I have missed you and the news. I don't know what's been going on the last month because my one news source hasn't been here.
Yeah.
So what have I missed?
So actually, just current news, right? So as close as we can come to breaking news, we're going to have our first breaking news story because it happened earlier today, so that's good enough, right, for us.
Okay.
And it's a sad story. Unfortunately, there was a terrible accident about 12 miles north of here in Tyrone Township. A building that was described as almost like a chicken farm, chicken building, a large chicken building on the Hillendale Farms collapsed earlier this morning.
Oh.
8 people were inside. There were no wildlife or no animals inside, but apparently 7 people were able to get themselves out. 1 person was unaccounted for. It took emergency crews that were responding 4 to 5 hours to actually do search and recovery or search and rescue at that point. Ultimately, they did recover a body. The identity has not been disclosed as of yet, as of the time we've come on to the news. But yeah, really tragic accident.
Yeah.
The building collapsed.
That?
Yeah. So Tyrone Township is a little bit northeast of here. It's still in Adams County. There were a lot of, this was bad enough that advanced, I'm going to make sure I get this. I've never heard this term. Advanced tactical rescue teams from York City and Harrisburg were actually dispatched. There were all kind of different first responders from Bendersville, Biglerville, Gettysburg, Heidlersburg, Hanover, Adams County. Their WellSpan had their life flight dispatched. It was a pretty big accident, and unfortunately, it ends with a sad story. So.
I can't imagine. Can you imagine being in a building that just collapses? I mean, any day now the shed could go, but I mean, something bigger than that, like that's got to be frightening.
No, I mean it must have been huge. If it, I mean, it's
I would imagine
Hillendale Farms is obviously commercial. Now they said it was not Hillendale employees. These were independent contractors that were doing something in the building. But again,
was it like they were like renovating or something in a?
I don't know. I mean, there were no animals inside.
You
so
didn't send one of your crack reporters out there to find out?
No, didn't have enough time.
Man, we also don't have the reporters.
Yeah.
So if you want to be one of Ronnie's reporters,
to be a reporter, email Eric.
Eric at addressinggettysburg.com.
Yeah. Go for it.
Yeah.
So in other kind of like police or first responder related activity, earlier this week, sometime between 5 p.m. Wednesday night and 7 a.m. Thursday night, there were a string of thefts at construction sites all throughout Cumberland Township. I mean, really big amounts of money that was worth of equipment that was taken.
Right.
Everything from air compressors and demolition saws. I mean, very, very expensive equipment taken from 3 different sites, 4 different contractors. Police are actually asking for folks' help because this is such a big deal. Apparently, the 100 block of Fair Play Road in Cumberland, the Cumberland Village construction site, 2 different contractors had significant amounts of items taken. At the Gettysburg Overlook construction site on Hers Ridge and Battalion Lane, and also on Penstock Lane. So 4 different, I keep saying 4 different vendors, but 3 different sites. If there's any homeowners or anything like that have home surveillance that the police would like to look at, or if there's anything suspicious that anybody wants to report, Cumberland Township Police are investigating. It's a current and active investigation, and they're asking for the help of the population around here. If anybody has information, please call them at 717-334-8101.
Sounds like we've got the mob.
Yeah. So the way it was described in the article is basically these weren't just like tools that were just laying around. I mean, they were in like locked sheds or locked, metal containers and everything. And people had been actually forcefully cutting the locks and stealing the items. And we're talking about a lot of damage and then a lot of, it spirals out of control in terms of the repercussions of this kind of stuff because those are active construction sites.
Yeah.
That means all that has to be put on hold until they can find replacement tools, and the tools are expensive and everything. Big deal. So
that's it does sound like I just finished binging The Sopranos over the last month, and it sounds a lot like something they would do.
Yeah. Well, they took like fur coats and stuff, didn't they?
No, that was Goodfellas.
Oh, okay.
What did I tell you? What did I tell you about spending that money? Get out of there. Give me that. Yeah, that's a different one.
So if anybody has information, please reach out to the Cumberland. Oh, and it actually said you could call Adams County Crime Watch or Crime Stoppers as well. If you want to leave an anonymous tip, you're more than welcome to do it through that venue. But otherwise, please call the Cumberland Township Police Department with any information.
All right.
And then to end up the news on somewhat of a positive note for maybe preservationists and history lovers in general, if you've been following this recently, in the last month or so, it's gotten a lot of attention. There was beyond that, there was a request by the Gettysburg Municipal Authority to have a variance of the zoning standards waived so that they could install a 500,000 gallon water tank over on Hers Ridge, the development that's being done over there. And just this past Tuesday, township supervisors unanimously 4-0 rejected that proposal.
Good.
So just a little bit more background information. Apparently, the current threshold is a 35-foot limit, and GMA was actually asking for 175 feet, basically like variance. And I should be very careful what word I'm using. It's not a variance. They were asking for a permanent proposal of the ordinance to be put into place, where 175 feet would be the new maximum.
The new max.
So they weren't even asking for just a single variance, and that was what a lot of the folks that spoke up about it was saying. Well, if you're going to grant this, you're not going to have any control going forward about any kind of buildings.
But that was specifically for
the water
public utilities.
Right.
That's what that proposal was for, not
buildings.
Yeah.
Right. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry. So for the municipal authority, they specifically were saying that they need this because the new developments, they have to have access to gravity funded water sources for these new developments, not only for first responders and things like that, but other people that spoke up, including Steve Sims, Bruce Davis from the Civil War Roundtable, members of the foundation. There were 20 people that spoke up at the meeting on Tuesday against this proposal. Nobody from the public spoke in favor of it.
Yeah.
And again, it.
Pete Carmichael sent me an article about it.
There.
Oh, he was?
Yep.
He sent me an article about it, and I was going to hold it until you got back, but I thought that would be last week, and then we didn't get to it, and so it already happened. But we didn't need our help anyway, ladies and gentlemen. People rejected
literally
it.
everybody jumped on. Like
there's signs all over the place. No
everything.
water tower. And, but so now let me ask you this, though. So before they started to build these developments, they didn't figure out the water situation?
I don't know.
And you require more water supply the more houses you build.
Yeah, why wouldn't they?
And a water tower can only handle so many houses.
Yeah.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Why didn't they figure this out beforehand, before they broke ground?
Well, I'm pretty sure what they have now and what's being constructed currently is fine.
They want to build more.
Correct.
And so they want to get the water.
They want to be able to build more.
And this
housing.
is a way. Okay, got it.
So, and let me in on this one too.
Go ahead. Yeah, anything. Jump in.
So, and we'll think, in the 1980s, I'd come here, and one of the first things I do is I would drive Hare Ridge.
Yeah.
The farms were there. Okay. And of course,
Beautiful
that's the
out
kickoff.
there back then.
That's the kickoff for day one and day two, because you have the counter march.
Right.
All right. And so all those views and those locations, and we've already lost the lower half of that. Right.
Oh, yeah.
And
the
so
southern
this
end
is,
of it.
this is, and fortunately, we have some park property that abuts to the ridge now on that area north of the Chambersburg Road.
Right.
All right. But to me, that was always a very important part of my experience coming in here.
Well, it's beautiful out that way.
Okay.
A friend of mine just put an offer in on a house there, and it's not one of those cookie cutter houses in those neighborhoods, but it's an old house that is surrounded now by it. And we were walking around there the other day looking at it, and I was like, well, this is a nice house, but everything around it reminds me of New Jersey.
Yeah.
And I left New Jersey.
That's right.
But yeah, no, it's sad the way they're whoring out that area there.
I have one more news item that was this week.
Yep.
All right. Day four, and Little Round Top still closed.
Yeah.
I was going to get to that. I was going to get to that. Little Round Top is finally closed, ladies and gentlemen. We had our, what was that, Monday night, Eric, when we were up there with Jesse and Jennie Wheat, or was it Tuesday?
It was Monday night.
Yeah.
It was Monday night?
Tuesday it officially closed.
Yeah, it was our last sunset up on Little Round Top, and it was nice, everybody's up there all giving it one last look, and a nice little sense of community around here with that, and that's the one way to get everybody to band together is close down Little Round Top, and then all of a sudden, we're all mourning the loss of Little Round Top that we forget, who we hate or whatever.
Either that or just propose some new public utilities.
Yeah.
That'll really throw people off the rails.
The Beaver Dam is still there, although the water is very low now.
Yeah, it is.
Did you notice
that first one?
Just in the first one?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I looked at.
I don't think that one was done on purpose. I think.
No.
I think it's a small breach on its own.
Oh, okay.
Because it's not completely empty.
No, it's not. I just thought we haven't had enough rain.
Well, it's the rain part of it, other than my tours. It does rain on my tours. But past that, no.
No. By the way,
it's just enough to get your garden wet, I think.
Team Beaver and Team Mozart shirts are about ready to hit the store at addressinggettysburg.com. Of course, check our social media to see when those come out. Wait until you see these designs, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, you will love them. If you're Team Beaver, you'll proudly wear your Team Beaver shirt. And if you're Team Mozart, you will proudly wear yours. I can tell, I know already, because they are just wonderful designs done by Ty DeWitt. Anything going on this weekend, Ronnie?
So there are, but real quick before
go ahead,
on
go
that.
ahead.
So I don't know, maybe I'm just late to this party, but this Beaver thing's been an issue for a while, and obviously not exclusive to Addressing Gettysburg viewers and things like that. I finally came across just a random posting on, someone asked about it, yada yada. Somebody else responded on Facebook, and this I wish I would have wrote the person's name down. I seem to remember it was a man. I don't remember his name, but I took a screenshot. He shared a screenshot of a response he allegedly got from Jason Martz back on April 27th when he claims he inquired. Now, the commenter on Facebook did not include his question or comment or whatever to Jason Martz, but he only sent what Jason Martz, the spokesman for the NPS, sent back. And if I may, so it's bullet pointed. There's 5 bullet points, and it just says the first one is the pond, and it's in italics at the base of Lake. That was a Freudian.
Lake Round Top.
Yeah. That was unintentional.
Lake Sims.
So,
Well, we don't know if it's his decision, though. We don't know.
The pond at the base of Little Round Top has been created by the combination of beavers creating a dam along Plum Run and recent rain events. Okay. Second bullet point
That's
is...
usually how beaver dams form.
I mean, so far,
This is such a government answer.
We can follow along so far.
Fucking water. That's usually how that works.
This is such a government answer already.
So, second bullet point is beavers are native to Pennsylvania. By the end of the 19th century, uncontrolled trapping and habitat loss eliminated beavers in Pennsylvania and most eastern states. But today, this aquatic fur bearer is back and has repopulated most of its former range. Okay. Third bullet point. The presence of beavers along Plum Run is not new. They have inhabited this space off and on for many years. In the past, they have been present for a year or two before moving on, likely as a result of exhausting their food supply.
All right, I got a question to that.
Okay.
In those years, did they threaten the health and integrity of a monument? Okay, that's all.
Bullet point number 4 is, it is the policy of the National Park Service to maintain all native plant and animal species within parks. When intervention is determined to be necessary to protect other park resources, human health and safety, or facilities, such intervention will be kept to the minimum necessary to achieve the stated management objectives. And then 5.
Well, which they haven't done anything.
That's a bullshit copy and paste straight out of a regulation.
Exactly.
The fifth and final bullet point. I'm just, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just reading what this guy allegedly shared. Yeah.
Go to hell.
Natural and cultural resource management staff are currently monitoring the beaver colony and its impacts on water levels in the surrounding area. At the point that negative impacts are documented to the roadway or critical elements of the cultural landscape, and he has in parentheses, e.g., 40th New York Monument, appropriate action will be taken. Relocation of the beaver colony will be considered only as a last resort.
What does it say when Team Mozart T-shirts outsell Team Beaver T-shirts, and it's embarrassing to the Park Service? Will that also be a reason for them to fix it?
I know. That's just the first time I've ever come across like an actual
answer,
like some kind of response,
which is all we've ever wanted.
It was a bullshit answer, but it was an answer.
But at least it's an answer.
And one thing, and so I'm going to be Team Beaver on some of the stuff.
Oh, you are, yeah.
Okay, so but in the past, the past they were not able to create as many dams with as much water backup as they have at this one.
Right, because they were removed.
They tried to remove them once, and I drove down the road after they did that. Right. And one of the beavers was sitting on the rock laughing at him. I saw this. I did not get the picture. He ran too fast, but I'm telling you, that's what he was doing. Okay. And there was a big fuss that weekend that they moved the beaver.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And Pat and I just laughed because they didn't get him. And to me, this an intervention. Yeah. If they knock down the lower dam 1, it'll take a year to rebuild. And all that water is going to drain out, and we're back to something that's maybe not so complainable. Something else, too, I've heard, and I haven't got into it. Evidently, there's been some damage to the right bridge, and so there's debris in there that's adding to the beavers. All right, so that's rumors and gossip.
You mean adding to the dams?
Yeah, it's slowing down water flow because there's debris under the bridge.
So the bridge is forming its own dam.
Which bridge are we talking
about? The bridge going up Warren.
Warren. I'm sorry, I said Warren.
Yeah,
okay. Wrong W. But
one silent.
Yeah, that's it. So that's a thought pattern too. That now we have an extra thing into the process.
Yeah.
But again,
here's the problem. All right. Go ahead. This is the issue with letting them be there.
Yeah.
Right? The longer you let them stay, the more permanent alteration there is done to wherever those ponds are.
Yep.
I know that because when I was growing up and I was hunting in the woods up by my great-grandmother's farm, there was a massive, massive beaver dam. There were like 5 of them, really. They drained that pond 15 years ago. It's still there. The water flows through it,
Yeah.
but you can see the edges
Right.
of the entire pond.
Right, okay.
Still,
Yeah.
15 years later.
Right.
The longer you let them sit there, the more saturation problems there are with the fucking soil, right?
Yeah.
Well, when soil gets saturated, it doesn't just stay there. Like if you drain the ponds, like it doesn't just stay where it was. It goes away.
Mm-hmm.
It moves permanently, right?
Right.
So let's just leave them there, right?
Yeah.
Let's just leave them there. We can have a massive lake. Let's help them out, actually.
Yeah.
Let's build a permanent dam.
Sure.
Right. We'll
Yeah,
just turn the Warren Avenue Bridge
Into a dam.
Into a dam.
I love it.
Right. And
Yeah.
then.
And then I can have boat tours there.
Exactly. We can
Kayak
rent
tours.
kayaks, and you can take kayak tours of Plum Run Valley.
This bulging river.
Here's
only go in one direction.
And down at
This
the
is
end,
my biggest
down at the end
beef.
where there weren't any dams, the bodies created a dam, so now we can do a body tour too.
my biggest beef with that bullshit government answer,
right,
is they talk about the national parks policy, right?
Yes.
To defend native wildlife.
Yes,
and
of
whatnot.
course.
Okay, awesome. That works for any other regular national park. This is not a regular national park. This isn't Yellowstone. It's not Yosemite. It's not being preserved for its natural beauty. It is being preserved for its historical significance. And so if you let them stay there and they ruin Plum Run Valley, which invariably will happen.
Yes.
If they stay there long enough, it's going to be permanently fucked.
Yep. Sorry,
You
Jacob.
lose it. It's gone.
Yeah.
There's only one of them on the face of the planet. There's one Plum Run Valley. There are untold numbers of beavers all over Pennsylvania.
Yep.
One Plum Run Valley. When it's gone, it's gone. Sorry,
Eric, that
I'm
was
gonna stop
beautiful.
preaching.
No, I agree with you. This is different. This is a lot more important than the stupid little rats with flat tails. I mean, honestly, you could put them anywhere.
Well, this is a pipe dream, right?
Well,
What, that they would remove them?
No, that they would maybe categorize or classify this particular park as I understand it's under the guise of the National Park Service, right? Or the
Yeah, it's
Department
some
of
of
the
the
Interior,
management
right?
or whatever the hell, yeah.
But maybe you make a different category of what this, like maybe, for example, not just this one, but maybe this park, maybe Valley Forge, maybe like the military parks.
Yeah.
And they have
as
different.
opposed to
they
you know, the
have
mission
distinctions.
statement.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now changing the mission station is another thing.
Yeah.
All right, because they're under, but it's Gettysburg National Military Park.
Right.
All right, and if I remember, there's 5 of those, and then Antietam has another name.
Battlefield Park.
Right.
No, it's
something.
National Battlefield.
Oh, National Battlefield.
National
right.
Battlefield.
Thank you.
Right. And I think, of course, when they named it, Antietam was just the roads. Right, not the land in
Right?
between.
Yeah, the land's been
Oh,
acquired
okay, so
recently.
right, yeah, the land, yeah, the
Most of it,
farms,
yeah.
yes, and the same thing goes for some of the western, right, that we had all where they have the different categories, and of course those were categories that existed until it was all turned into the Department of the Interior.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and so that
So
lays
from
it,
the War Department to the Department of the
right,
Interior.
so
is what
that
you're
so
saying,
that
yeah.
whole rollover, that's a 30-minute or hour
I know.
program itself.
I know.
So funny because they take an inventory.
Yeah.
The Department of Interior takes an inventory because they don't trust the War Department's list. Honest to God, real thing.
Well, it takes one to know one.
I just knock down the first dam, and the beavers are there. The damage he's talking about goes down to just where the run is. And to me, I think that's just win-win. But again, typically nobody listens to me anyhow.
Well,
so
I don't think the Beavers would think it's win-win because they'll try to rebuild that dam, wouldn't
Well,
they?
okay, and then next year you knock it down again. Happy little guys gives them something
Listen,
to do.
hey,
Okay?
listen,
That way they're not roaming the streets. All right, there's not beaver crime. They're not stealing.
And the
they're not
positive
stealing,
side effect is
not
they're
stealing
doing the
construction
underbrush.
equipment. Okay,
Right? 'Cause, I mean, honestly, they're cutting down a lot of that like smaller underbrush, ironically.
Well, they're
so
flooding
they have
it.
to keep
Which the park would not let us cut down.
right?
But that's what. But
we
that's
asked to cut that down, and the park said, "No, you can't do that
But that's-
because you're saving the run."
But that's my point,
we
though.
talk about beavers like they're an endangered species.
They're not. They're
not even close.
ubiquitous. Yeah, they're everywhere.
classified least concern on the conservation status is least concerned.
Yeah.
You know why? Because they're rodents.
Because they're everywhere. They're exactly.
They're legitimately they are aquatic rodents.
They're rats, and
they
somebody stepped on their
breed
tail
accordingly.
And that's my whole thing though, is that you're saying that Park Service will take the dam down next year when it builds up. They don't even mow the lawn. They don't even mow the lawn. They're not even taking care of the park as it is.
Right.
They're not removing trees that are growing back that should be removed.
For those of us that would want to, they won't let us do it.
Well, and that's the other thing. Where is the why aren't they letting us volunteer? Why can't we do the adopt a position anymore?
Right.
Why can't we help them take care of our park? Why? What is going on?
Okay.
I don't understand it.
But under endangered species, monarch butterflies.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, just a week ago, the monarch butterflies, which used to be so present here, there were literally festivals, okay?
Yeah.
And they're endangered.
I never see butterflies anymore.
No. And
what happened to the butterflies?
Well, I'm not sure. But at the same time, they've been trying to counter this for a couple of years, and that's why you see these pastures like the Culp Farm, because they're trying to grow back the milkweed. And the larva stage of the butterfly, if I understand it, the monarch, only eats milkweed.
Interesting.
So if they don't have milkweed to lay their eggs on, then there's no next generation.
Oh.
All right, okay, so as a kid in Maryland, the farms near us, they would rotate their crops, and one year it would lay farrow, and every year that farrow field would grow up. It was all milkweed, and it was all butterflies, right? Okay, and we could play there. We had rabbits and groundhogs.
Rabbits delicious.
We didn't have any beavers.
Well, this that deep and bulging river that is down there is in our blood now. I mean, it's part of us, Nobody gets that, but I love it. Okay, Ronnie, do you?
I have no
idea. Is there anything happening this weekend?
Yes. Yeah.
This weekend, where the action is. What's there to do and see when you're in town this weekend? Here's Valerie, Veronica, to fill you in.
It's all covered. I just hate you, and I hate your ass face.
All right, Ronnie, what is in the news?
Okay,
Or what is up this weekend?
So just a few reminders of ongoing things. Obviously, just a reminder to check the website for the National Park Service, because there are, even though the anniversary is done and everything, there are still daily hikes and programming and things like that the park rangers are putting on. So go head over to, NPS/get GET.
Just Google it.
Yeah, and they have every day they have like a listing of everything that's being offered.
So they are doing them daily again?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good.
Yep,
Good.
And then Living History is still ongoing this summer at the Spangler Farm. One thing, now this is for next weekend, but I think this is pretty darn cool. Something to put on the radar if you're in town next weekend. So from 12:30 to 1:30 at the Spangler Farm. You have to get your ticket. You have to sign up for, to be out there for this particular program.
Yeah.
But a friend of the show, Dave Melge, who was the past president or CEO, I guess, of the Gettysburg Foundation, is going to be giving a presentation on the biography of Colonel Eliakim Sherrill.
Oh, cool.
Right, and Dave actually has a lot of the his memorabilia and artifacts and things like that, including a full uniform, some other things he had on him when he was mortally wounded here. So that's kind of an unusual, neat presentation right on the fifth. I guess I don't want to misspeak. I think he was definitely treated there. I don't know if he died at the Spangler Farm, but he was there, and to have this guy, Mr. Melge, bring back all the artifacts and stuff and actually talk.
And Dave's a really cool guy, too.
Really
You'll enjoy listening to him talk. Oh, we got to go to that.
That would be, so that's next Saturday from 12:30 to 1:30. So I would suggest, obviously, you got to get the 6th, Saturday, August 6th.
I got family in town that weekend.
Oh, well.
Maybe I could drag
away
them
for an
out
hour.
there.
Yeah.
Or I can skip away, yeah.
Also, a reminder, the farm market's still going on. Farmers market here in town, still going on, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Also ongoing, the 100 Nights of Taps and the free cemetery tour by the licensed battlefield guides at 5:30 preceding the 7 p.m. Nights of Taps at the Soldiers National Cemetery. Those are all still ongoing. Something, if you're in town, this ends tomorrow. The Friends of the Library are finishing up their summer sale. Now, it is not held in town. It's right outside of town at the Reading Auction Center on Table Rock Road.
Okay.
Tomorrow is the last day, so they're having a pretty good sale. A whole entire bag of books for $5. If you buy buy 2 bags, get a third one free. Any children that come get 5 free children's books just by being there. So if you have little kids that are, interested in summer reading, and I think they're still doing the promotion that if you're an educator, you get 15 age-appropriate or class-appropriate books that are left. So something to go check out, and it sponsors the local library, so that's something worthwhile. Something other, outside of this weekend, on August 3rd, the Majestic Theater is continuing with their Summer Classics series. And this one, I'm actually, Mom and I are going to this for sure. The movie Witness with Harrison Ford.
Ah, yes.
It was filmed out around some of the farms, I think, in Lancaster.
Oh, but the Amish.
The Amish.
Right, yeah. Eric, were we talking about that movie the other day? Witness?
Yesterday, yeah.
Yesterday, yeah.
You serious?
Yeah, we were.
Okay.
Well, no, because it's at the theater. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I went on my birthday. I think I told you I went to see Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
We actually saw you guys there. We didn't want to interrupt your date, but we...
It wasn't a date.
Yeah.
Wasn't a date.
Whatever. Mom and I were like, never mind. He's too busy.
No, you should have said something.
No, you guys were a little bit ahead of us. But yeah, that was the first one we went
did you go and watch the movie too?
Yeah.
Well, you were there and you didn't say anything?
You guys were like walking into the theater as we were in line. We were just getting our tickets.
So
and
throw
getting
a rock at
we
my
have
friend.
popcorn to get. We have
Okay.
priorities in our life.
All right. Oh, well, yes. I know.
Can see you anytime.
And that's
Movie
true.
theater popcorn. Get out of the way.
Well, what was it, 2 nights ago, I guess? We went to see Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Oh, yeah.
Was playing there.
Yeah.
And I like what they do there because Jeffrey Gable gets up and he gives you a little history of the movie and everything, which I find interesting, and then the movie starts. And it's fun to watch these movies in a theater with people because I guess I don't know. I don't pick up on jokes a lot in movies. But then I, watch these movies I've seen over and over again, and I hear people laughing like every minute or every other minute. And I go, I don't remember this movie being that funny. But then when you're with an audience, you're like, this is kind of a funny movie. Yeah. Like, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? I first saw it like 20 years ago, and I didn't laugh. I didn't get the it's like...
It was off the wall a little bit, yeah.
Because 20 years ago I was 10.
Oh, yeah.
But now that I'm watching it, though, I was laughing like almost every other scene. Yeah. So it's a good movie, but it's a really cool thing. And the Majestic Theater is a beautiful theater. It's they take good care of it, and you should definitely go there if you're ever in town on one of those days.
Reasonably priced too. I think this summer class.
I gotta tell you,
$7.50.
It was. I think it was $18. I think I paid, or $16. I did for 2 tickets, and then popcorn and 2 waters was $11.
Yeah, not bad.
I mean, that's like 1980s prices, folks. You can't beat that. And the popcorn was still. I got the large too.
Yeah.
And I did the diner trick. And then so we had this large popcorn, and it was delicious. It was nice and fluffy. It was fresh. So go there when you get a chance.
Diner trick? I don't even.
I'm not telling you.
Oh.
Not on the air. I'll tell you later.
Do you know what that is?
You remember the movie Diner, right? Yeah.
Oh,
he
the
knows.
movie Diner. Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Did you put it in your lap or something?
And while you're talking about this, right? You're talking about the park programs.
Yeah.
All right. And then typically, if you're looking to see some of these programs, you kind of want to go now because August 15th,
they're closing the whole park.
Traditionally, the schedules change.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Whether it be the park or whatever, or the museums.
Yeah.
The whole Gettysburg experience, the kids go back to school, and so that adjusts. I mean, it's still there, but it's not quite as much.
Right. And that's a good point, Ken.
Yeah.
And like things like the Will's House, the train station, different exhibits even in town, things are going to have different hours as well. So,
right.
it's impossible for me to
you can't
give
get
you
them
a
all.
list of everything that you're going to be here for another 20 minutes just listening to that. And if you're not in town, it's irrelevant for you
And
guys
it's
anyway. So
irrelevant.
just,
like, what do you care?
Just a reminder to look at those resources.
Look at
if you're in
the
town,
You're giving highlights to the people as well.
Yeah, that's
yes,
right.
Exactly. All right. Well, Ken, thank you very much for coming in and doing this thing here. We'll set up a time where we can come in and really talk about Jennie Wade, and that is all on that front. Ronnie, it's good to have you back.
Yeah.
Faux show. Faux show.
Oh, and real quick.
Oh,
Katie, thank you so much. I'm going to share these with Mom, and thank you so very much. That was thoughtful.
Katie doesn't watch the show, does she, Eric?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. So.
All right. Eric, please tell Katie thank you when you get.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to go. We'll see you guys next week. And Alderson Broderson to you all.
Addressing Gettysburg Today is hosted by Matt Callery and Veronica Brestensky, Esquire. Produced by Eric, the producer, Moni. Applause led by Owen the Clabber. Guests of Addressing Gettysburg Today stay wherever they want. That's not our concern. To be a guest on the show, send an email to eric@addressinggettysburg.com. Addressing Gettysburg broadcasts from the Gettys Bike Tour Studios. Get a 15% discount on your next tour with Gettys Bike. I'm Huevos Grande, the voice of Addressing Gettysburg Today. Thanks for listening.
I said more ham.
Hate you, and I hate your ass face.
Grass is molten, hurt my neck.
Like your friend took to death out in that river.
So we sang the chorus from Atlanta to the sea while we were marching through Georgia.
Thank you, Donald, for reminding everybody to hit the like button.
Bullshit.
If it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, quacks like a duck,